That sounds like the fucking ocean underneath there.
We know that New Orleans is below sea level, but the reason why is probably more chaotic than you think. New Orleans didn't start below sea level. The land sank, and the science behind why is kind of wild. New Orleans sits on a delta, and a delta is not rock. It's basically a giant layer cake of mud, clay, peat, sand, and silt dumped by the Mississippi River. These materials compact under their own weight. Normally, the Mississippi solves this, as every flood season it spreads out, drops fresh sediment, and rebuilds the land. It's like the city gets a yearly geological Botox. But then, humans built levees, which are giant walls that force the river to stay in its channel. That's great for stopping floods, but it's not so good for the land, because the second you stop the sediment, the delta goes on a crash diet that it never recovers from. No new material on top means the old muddy layers compact, dewater, and sink. And it gets worse. New Orleans soils contain a lot of peat, which is partially decomposed plant material. When the city pumps water out of the ground to stay dry, that peat gets exposed to oxygen and oxidizes, like it's slowly burning away. When peat decompresses, it shrinks a lot. This is a major reason for why parts of the city drop millimeters per year, even centimeters in some neighborhoods. Buildings, roads, levees, all that weight presses down on the soft delta sediments, squeezing out water and speeding up compaction. A skyscraper is basically a slow-motion geological hammer if it's placed in New Orleans. Then add to that wetland loss in coastal Louisiana, oil and gas extraction, and global sea level rise mean that you have a city that isn't just sinking, but the water around it is rising too. This is called relative sea level rise, and New Orleans has one of the highest rates in the world. New Orleans isn't in danger of suddenly collapsing into Earth, but it is sinking gradually, and that's what makes it vulnerable. It will be increasingly prone to catastrophic levels of flooding if levees, pumps, and floodgates ever fail. The city survives because of constant human engineering, and without it, much of New Orleans would already be underwater. There's no real way to stop New Orleans sinking, but there are ways to slow the subsidence and offset it by rebuilding the land. The most effective long-term strategy is sediment diversion, where controlled openings in the Mississippi River let mud and sand flow back into the wetlands, rebuilding the ground the same way that the delta was originally formed. Other fixes include restoring wetlands, reducing groundwater pumping, upgrading levees and pumps, and raising vulnerable buildings and roads. None of these solutions will eliminate the problem altogether, but together they can help to keep New Orleans habitable, safer, and above water for much longer than nature alone would allow.